Lula is refusing to back down as the taxi industry dares him to take action over its defiance of lockdown regulations. He's warned that the law will take its course as minibus taxi operators load at 100% capacity and embark on long-distance trips.
We can't talk past each other. There is no war here, and there is no need to fight. We must talk. We must engage. Government must at all material times represent the interest of our people. That's why we are elected as government, as politicians, as public representatives, to prioritize the interest of the people. So every decision we take at the present moment is going to be informed by that primarily. But secondly, we've got to also take interest of the taxi industry at heart. And we've got to do that. It is important that at all times we need to talk. So there's no need to take to the streets. Absolutely no need. South Africa is not a banana republic. It's not a banana republic. We can't allow a state of lawlessness. We can't allow a state of lawlessness where people dare government and say that we are basically going to render this unworkable and ungovernable. We must learn as a nation to live within the parameters of the law and raise our issues.
The Black Business Council says it unsuccessfully tried to plead with the government to offer more assistance to the taxi industry. Santaco announced that it will be defying lockdown regulations in protest against a failure to subsidize operators. We're joined by Bonolo Ramukele from the Black Business Council. Good evening, Bonolo. Thanks for your time on News at Prime tonight. How exactly would you want government to step in and assist the taxi industry?
Evening, Kathy, and evening to the viewers at home. The Black Business Council and its affiliate, Santaco, have been having engagements with the Department of Transport as far back as just before the lockdown began to look at ways on mitigating the losses that the industry potentially was facing. And it has come to the fore that they are actually underwater as we speak as an industry. But we thought that a package of 3.9 billion rand would do the trick in terms of alleviating those losses, because those losses inevitably are going to be passed on to the consumers, which is the taxi customers, who will end up paying more for their fares. And we are also very, very, very worried about the issue of safety. And we love the idea that everybody must be wearing a mask in a taxi. And we take the initiative that has been taken by the industry, especially Santaco, that each and every rank is being deep cleaned, each and every taxi is being deep cleaned, and every customer would be wearing a mask to ensure that this virus does not spread in the taxi.
Of course, one of the things that, creating any form of mechanism to assist the industry also sets a precedent for those industries that haven't had any kind of assistance during this lockdown. So how do you then propose that government should meet that balancing act? Because the taxi industry certainly hasn't been unique in the way in which it has been impacted by COVID-19.
Look, we all have been affected by COVID-19. A lot of our members within the Black Business Council have been affected. But what makes the taxi industry unique is that during the lockdown, the taxi industry was the only form of public transport that was operating at a loss. And it was the only industry that was ferrying essential service workers to and from work, as well as people who work in the retail sector that were ensuring that you and I are able to shop and do our groceries and keep our families fed. And the industry did that fully knowing that it is doing a duty and a service to the country. And we think that it is only fair that the industry is subsidized for these losses that they incurred during this lockdown period, because during this time, the train industry as well as the buses industry were not operating at all, and yet they were receiving hundreds of millions of rand from government as a form of a subsidy. And what is happening now is that the industry of taxis is not doing this because they are being spiteful. They are doing this purely from a perspective of they are staring down the reality of their vehicles being repossessed, because due to lockdown restrictions on how many people they could load, they could not be able to pay their vehicles at the end of March, April, May, and June. And now they are actually going to have their vehicles repossessed. And when those vehicles get repossessed, the very core of the industry then collapses.
So of course, there's great empathy for the situation that the industry finds itself in terms of just some of the impact that you're talking about. But when I'm listening to you speak, I know that is also the experience of so many other South Africans who are not necessarily part of the taxi industry. So what would you want government to do? Because they've already said, here is this 5,000 rand that we could give you just to help you get by. Does this need a conversation with the banks? What kind of intervention are you proposing here?
We think that this COVID-19 has shown that the discussion and action to have a taxi subsidy is now more relevant than ever. And we think that the Minister of Transport has an opportunity to finally get this done, where his predecessors might have fallen short. He has an opportunity to come to the party and realize this taxi subsidy issue for the industry. And we think that if you were to look at what the industry contributes to the economy, you cannot afford to not have the industry being assisted, because if you have the industry ferries about 60% of passengers in this country. It does over 15 million trips in this country. So you need to have the industry being sustainable in order for it to keep the economy going. And that is why we feel that this industry must be supported. The taxi subsidy must come to the fore, so that the economy can keep on moving.
All right, let's leave it there for tonight. Bonolo Ramokele, he's the Treasurer General of the Black Business Council. While staying with that story, News from Africa reporter Mweli Masilela has been shot by rubber bullets and injured while covering the taxi protest in Kanyamazane township outside Mbombela. Mpumalanga police were firing rubber bullets, and this is after arriving on scene to disperse protesters. There'd been a standoff earlier in the day between police and taxi operators as they demanded to carry passengers at 100% capacity. Well, Mpumalanga police spokesperson Lena Klati says an investigation into the incident will be conducted.
Well, talking about Mpumalanga, other areas are fine. We only experienced problems in Nelspruit, as well as Kanyamazane, where Mweli was shot. So after the engagement between the police and the taxi people, police managed now to make the road to be accessible. So it's fine. However, we are, monitoring the situation, both areas, Kanyamazane as well as Nelspruit. However, also, we are monitoring other areas. Should this thing also flare up to those areas, so we are equal to the task, so that we can be able now to deal with all of these situations around the province. But this is a subject matter for investigation currently. Police responded to a problem which was caused by taxi people, at which roads were barricaded, and at that moment there were some vehicles that have been forced to barricade the road, and the community could not access the road. So police went there, and the shooting happened around that particular moment.
All right, well, Mweli is receiving medical treatment for his injuries, and he remains in high spirits. We're back with your headlines after this and more news. Do stay with us.